Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Saturday the 4th of March. But first, a quick recap on Friday's horse racing selections. Well, we had two winners, two disappointing horses in the win bet, and we only got one place on the each way bet, but it was a tasty price, the each way bet. I don't know at what price it returned in the end, so I didn't check because with the stake that I had, I didn't actually have anything going on to it, but it was Oriental Lily that got, I think he got third place in the end. I did see it touch 40s, but it could quite easily have been about 25s or 28s. But it was a losing day, but there was some. It was just a shame that the first, well, the nap win of the day didn't win because that would have paid for the best part of the day really. So let's get into Saturday anyway. So I've gone for 3 horse racing bets and a football bet. So what I've gone for a large priced each way bet. Once again, I've gone for big prices and more fancied horses. I've gone for a bet called something like this time next year, Rodney. I'll get more into that in a second. And the regular football bet over 2.5, over 3.5, and over 4.5 goals. So let's get into the horse racing bet. I've put it on here because it's horrendous how Sky Bet actually put it out in their once you've matched your bet because you've got stake everywhere. So I haven't actually added the stake up, but what I can tell you is that if the over 2.5 goals bet comes up, that's if all 3 matches have more than 2.5 goals, or should I say 3 goals or more, it returns £41 and that pays for the day. So even if you don't like football bets, if you can, split the stakes of all the bets equally to a more affordable amount an amount that you can afford. So let's get into it. So the first bet is 50 pence each way singles, 40 pence each way doubles, 10 pence each way trebles, and a 20 pence each way acca. The first selection is Tritonic in the 150 at Kelso. By the way, these are all with Sky Bet because of the extra place races. They aren't all extra place races, but a fair amount of them are. I did originally fancy Teddy Blue, or Teddy Blue, but at 11-2, it's no value whatsoever. And this Tritonic wasn't far behind it the last time they ran. This Tritonic is roughly around 20-1 at the moment. The second selection is Poseidon in the 10 past 2 at Newbury. It's a tasty price. It's got to improve. Basically, it's not shown a great deal, but once again, it's an extra place race. The third selection is Windsor Avenue in the 3:15 at Doncaster. It's around about 10-1. It's got a decent chance. It's funny enough, it hasn't ran in this race so far, but last year it ran on this day last year, but it ran at either Kelso or Newbury. Then the year before, it ran on this day again, and whichever one it was, it either ran at Kelso or Newbury. So this time it's running. So this time it's running at Doncaster. So I don't know what it is about this particular day. Maybe today's the day. So that's the third selection. The fourth selection, I'll let you pronounce this. Zehuatenajo. Zehuatenajo in the 4:45 at Kelso. This has got a much better chance than it looks. It's 50-1, so maybe you might want to take the price, but I think it could drift even further. It is, I believe, £8 out of the handicap, but it's not a great race, and so far it's ran on dreadful ground. Well, tomorrow isn't dreadful ground, so if it appreciates the better ground, it could be due to have a better run. So it's not that much of a donkey fan or outside in my opinion, or it's not that far behind the others on form. So let's get on to some more big prices and more fancied horses, and this bet is a 30 pence each way doubles, 15 pence each way trebles, and 11 pence each way Canadian, and 14 pence each way accumulator. The first selection is Tritonic, although I spelled it wrong. Tritonic in the 150 at Kelso. The second selection, which I like the look of a lot, Dan Skelton has won this race in the past with a very decent horse. Well, this horse was tenderly handled both times it ran at Chepstow, but it's called Ho Jolie Smoke in the 225 at Kelso. The third selection, once again, is Windsor Avenue in the 315 at Doncaster. The fourth selection, and I've taken the price on this one on my bet, it's currently 13-2. I don't believe it's an extra place race, but I really like the look of this horse. Basically, it's also got the best jockey in the race, Robert Havlin, on it. And he rides this horse regularly, and it used to run, around about 2 miles a couple of years ago. But it's been mainly running about 1 mile 4. Well, it's back up to 2 mile, and I think this horse has got a cracking chance again. Obviously, Robert Havlin's involved quite a lot with this horse. Maybe he's recommended he gets step back up again, or maybe they're targeting the race for today, as in Saturday, for Mohib. So I don't know, but I like the look of 13-2 because it's not a strong race. So I've taken that price. And the final selection is Irish Chorus in the 5:10 at Newbury. This horse is by Alan King, and it's well bred. It's never ran before. It's running on National Flat, and the problem that you've got is the first two in the betting have both had wind operations. Don't get me wrong. I think one of them could be very good. Which one, I don't know. The third selection didn't achieve a great deal on the National Flat. It ran on the all-weather. It was a Fergal O'Brien horse. Only got a rating of 90. Well, 90 is pretty naff for a racing post rating on the National Flat. But I do like the look of the breeding of this horse, and don't quote me, and I believe the first offspring of this dam was basically, I think it won by 15 lengths on its debut in a National Flat race. Don't quote me, but I believe so. I believe it was called something like Mayfair Mailet. I probably just absolutely butchered that, but yeah. So that's that selection as well. So I do really, basically they're all interesting. I'd say Tritonic. We need a bit of luck, and Kelso doesn't really suit horses coming from miles behind. Unfortunately, that horse Tritonic did come from miles behind last time, but it's got to run a decent race because I believe it's entered at Cheltenham as well. So it's got to do something if it wants to get in at the weights. So let's get on to the next bet. Right, this time next year, Rodney. Right, what this is, all these three horses won the same race last year. So this bet comes to, I believe it's £3.50. Yeah, £3.50. So I've had pound doubles and a 50p treble. Bold plan in the 2:10 at Newbury. I do like the look of it. It's not the strongest in my opinion, but I do like the look of it. I'm not putting it off. It didn't jump out at me, but yeah, it's hard to tip horses from the Evan Williams thing. But you never know quite whether they're like today's a day, as we would say. The second selection is Paint the Dream in the 2:45 at Newbury, and once again that's Fergal O'Brien. And the third selection is Black Poppy in the 3:25 at Newbury, and those are all to win. £1.50 win doubles, 50p win trebles. And finally onto the football. The football bet, which I call goals, goals, goals. So basically these are the three matches. So you need to go to the over 2.5 goal section, and they're roughly about 10 to 11 generally, 10 to 11, 11 to 10. So £6 over 2.5 gold treble. The Middlesbrough match, the Bristol Rovers match, and the AFC Wimbledon match. Put that bet on. And then the next bet, get rid of those selections after that, a £2.75 over 3.5 gold treble. The same teams, Middlesbrough, Bristol Rovers, and AFC Wimbledon matches. You don't want a team to win. Ideally, you want 5 goals or more in each match. And finally, £1.75 over 4.5 gold treble, Middlesbrough versus Reading, Bristol Rovers versus Barnsley, and AFC Wimbledon versus Mansfield. So, if we get a return of a tenner, there will be selections for Sunday. So, yeah. So, and they will probably be out. They will be out early hours Sunday morning. So, if you've got this far, please give me a like or a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It's just ticked 10 minutes. I'm now going to watch half an hour of Funky Prepper doing a live stream. So the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.